Let's go out to Philadelphia before we swing into St. Louis. I want to show you, they're calling her Phillies Karen. A home run ball went into her area in the stands. A father runs over 10, 15 feet, beats her to the ball, grabs the ball, and gives it to his 10, 12-year-old son. Phillies Karen then runs after the man, gets all in his face, yells at him, and the man folds like a cheap suit, takes the ball from his son, gives it to her. Hats off to the Phillies for recognizing this and correcting it. There's the father giving it to his son. It's kind of empty up in that part of the stand. She runs over, yells at him, puts her hands on him. You came over into my area. Give it. So this is completely embarrassing to me. This man should have took the ball from his son, gave it to her, and told her bye. And everybody is crediting this man. He avoided an incident. He let this Karen run over and yell at him. Everybody around, you could see the one woman putting her hands over her face. Phillies Karen made a fool of herself. She's got the short hair and sunglasses. I'm sure she's a cat lady. She looks like Rachel Maddow's girlfriend, sister, mother, something. But I think, and TJ will get your thought, you're a dad, I thought this guy folded way too easy. There's no way I would have given that woman the ball. I would have sat down and ignored her and let her yell and scream until her heart's content. But I wouldn't have given her that ball. Phillies corrected. They get this kid an autographed baseball bat, I think. They give him a ball. They come up and give him gifts. Anyway, your thoughts here, TJ.
You know, whenever I see a grown man do this, when a woman walks up to him, I don't have real high expectations for what comes next. And so I actually thought the son showed a lot more masculinity than he did. The son looked right at her and was ready to tell her to take a hike to the moon before the dad grabbed the ball that he had just gifted his son and gave it back to her. So I think everybody lost in this scenario. I think, first of all, this guy's never going to recover. If his family members and friends have any balls at all, they'll make fun of him the rest of his life until something good happens to him and he overcomes that. His son will never have respect for his dad, and he's also been taught this is what a man looks like. That is a problem. That is not what men do. And the biggest disservice is this one's name is Cheryl. I wish we'd stop calling them Karens. I actually think a lot of people that they call Karens are doing a decent job standing up because men won't. This is an actual Karen, but she learned that if she acts crazy and woke and liberal and she stomps her feet enough that she'll get rewarded. And that's how the society has been operating now for at least 5 years. And so everyone here lost. And I know everybody's like, he did the right thing. She was about to get violent. I saw somebody tweet that. You could tell she was unhinged. She was about to get violent. Yes, all 3'8" of her was about to get violent. Okay. I wouldn't have sat down and just let her berate me. You stand up between, because look, we're watching it here. The son is a little bit too close, okay? And this woman's like yelling right in the face of the son. You step between them and let her know if she keeps going or gets any closer, you're going to have security escort her out. And she needs to learn how to conduct herself in public. You don't just sit there and let her, you don't play defense in these scenarios. You're bigger than her. You're tougher than her. This is a crazy unhinged woman. You let her know who's actually in charge. This is crazy behavior by everyone.
Okay, you said a mouthful. I do think the dad's relationship with the son can recover, be repaired, can be a blip on the radar. I don't know if the son's going to lose respect for the dad completely. It's weak. I get it. It's weak. Now, for me, when you're my size and just and black, this woman's getting no reaction from me. None. Yeah, I agree with you. Getting in between her and my son and say, hey, sit down. I'm talking to my son and her. That's what I would do. Let this woman yell and scream to her heart's content. wouldn't bother me. And I argued with people over social media about this because everybody's acting like the only reaction here is to get violent with the woman or start yelling and screaming at the woman. And I just totally disagree, disavow that. I've shared with you all previously on this show. I had a woman in Miami up in my face for a solid 2 minutes. N-word this, N-word that, N-word this. And I completely just ignored her. And I was there with a group of friends. And this was back when me and Levitard were friends. It's probably his brother was there, others were there. There had to be 6 to 8 of us. And everybody sat there like amazed that I had no reaction. The woman huffed and puffed, ran out of steam and went away. My day continued. And I know people loved, oh, no one's gonna disrespect me. I'm like, this woman's making a fool of herself. I'm gonna let her do it. My day. And so I just, this whole notion that you gotta, and I'm not saying you're arguing this, but people were arguing to me like, you gotta yell at her or Jason, are you saying you're gonna get violent with her? Not at all. I'm gonna ignore this woman and because, and all, not all women, but any of these women that try to use emotion and try to escalate things, I'm not a law enforcement agent, so I can't tase them, so I'm not gonna do that. Not gonna spray pepper spray in their face or whatever. I'm just basically gonna ignore them. They're gonna huff and puff and go away eventually. Anyway, go ahead, TJ.
I think you may have a different opinion if your family was standing there. That what you just described to me was you standing with some friends, Levitard and whoever else. I don't feel a big need to defend myself around a couple other guys that also can defend themselves just fine. My 10-year-old kid standing in my arms, we're having a different discussion. And so that is why I think your reaction to immediately step between them. And you don't have to yell and scream and get belligerent. Don't do what she's doing. But you let her know she's not in charge, and her stomping her feet and all that will not be tolerated. And so he did exactly the opposite. He rewarded the behavior. You have to treat liberal white women like the children that they are, and you give them the consequences that they earn. And he didn't do that.
I wouldn't put a color on it. I wouldn't put a color on it. These are all just liberal women. And that's 95% of black women. And, I don't know, 65% of white women, I don't know. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah. These liberal women, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I mean, look, the internet's done a pretty good job. This is the spitting image of Elizabeth Warren. This is exactly what I would expect Elizabeth Warren to do if I saw her at a baseball stadium. Okay, so you just do not ever reward this type of behavior. And I do think you have a moral obligation to minimally stand up for yourself. The white guys all over this is my biggest problem with white men everywhere. We stand here totally surprised that anybody's possibly talking to us, and then we totally fold after about 10 seconds, okay? Look at his reaction. It drives me insane. But that is the encapsulation of what white men do in America today. And your job is to do the opposite, is to be strong, show masculinity, to make sure these crazy women with butch haircuts don't run around like they're in charge. And you have a job to do, and particularly in front of your son, and I don't know if that's his daughter to the right there or his wife or whoever it is. Like, that's his family there. And he does a little bit of argument and says, not worth it. It actually is worth it. And you have a job to do. And the further along we go into this, the worse it's going to get. White men are just going to continue being the punching bags in America until we do something about it.
Well, I do think the guy is surprised. Now, I'm going to offer him tiny bits of defense. I do think he's surprised. He got a baseball, he runs and gives it to his son. Next thing you know, someone's grabbing him from the side and he's a little bit surprised and he doesn't have the correct reaction. In a second, 2 seconds, he should have had the proper reaction of like, hey lady, don't touch me, leave me alone, get away from my son. We're here for a baseball game. I don't care about you yelling and screaming. I beat you to the ball. Then I'm sitting down and I'm ignoring her from that point forward. Now, you could get a super aggressive woman that puts her hands back on you again, and then you may have to push her away because this is on camera and people can see the woman getting aggressive with you. But more than anything, TJ, where we are in total agreement, I believe, is not only is this is going on in corporate America.
Absolutely.
And all decision making, they've dropped women into all these positions of power based on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And everybody cowers around them because they're afraid of being called sexist. They're afraid of not respecting diversity. And these women are using that power to totally control corporate environments. I've worked in them. I've seen it in action. I've heard the stories of, and this is particularly true, you drop a black woman, black feminist into any of these work environments, and they will play this card over and over and over again. Well, as the only person of color and a woman in the room, my thoughts are this and that. And no one, everybody just goes completely silent. Everybody just they're afraid to say anything. And the next thing you know, you're doing exactly what she wants you to do, no matter how illogical it is. Don't miss a second of Fearless. Hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with our latest content.